America, I'm happy to have my brother Ray Caesar Leo here with us for another one of Ray's Take. Caesar, what you got for the people?
Little bit of a shout out, a little bit of like I don't want to call it the depressing news, just some sad news out of the NFL. If you're a fan of Mississippi products in the league, man, take a minute to kind of think about Cam Akers. Folks around Central Mississippi know him, statewide know him because he was a player of the year when he was a senior in high school at Clinton High School in Clinton, Mississippi. Went on to play at Florida State, got drafted by the Los Angeles Rams, man, and made his hay. Proving himself as a rookie last year to the point where he was, pretty much the lead dog for that top running back spot. And when you talk about the Rams bringing in Matthew Stafford, this guy was going to be a key piece. I say was because in case you hadn't heard, my guy suffered a Achilles injury. Listen, modern medicine is amazing, right? You can tear your knee today, and in 6 months you can be back ready to go. That's just the progression we've made as a civilization when it comes to modern medicine. The Achilles injury is the one, though. It's the one, man, that always gives you pause. I know we've seen KD come back and do amazing things, but Kobe Bryant was never the same, in my opinion, after he suffered his Achilles injury. You know what I mean? The thing that I think about with Cam Akers is a guy that I never saw hurt, whether it was in high school, college, and I know he suffered injuries. We're just talking about it like a marathon, like a guy who never got hurt. And to see this young man suffer his injury in just his second year after finally making it, as a lifelong dream. You got to think about it. This guy was playing football as a child. Then he comes up and fulfills that lifelong dream as a really good first year. Like, numbers don't jump off the board. 750 all-purpose yards, 4 touchdowns. But you got to understand, he was playing with Jared Goff as a quarterback. So there's really no consistency there. And then he comes in thinking, oh, in my second year, I'm going to play with Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford saying, oh, I'm going to be able to play with a real running back that I can do multiple things with, right? Like a match made in heaven with Coach McVay, great defense. This is a team that a lot of people were saying, hey, don't be shocked if this team makes like a playoff run. And so it sucks, man, to see this young man go down before the season even starts. You hope that everything works out to where the rehab, he's already had his surgery, that the rehab goes well, and this young man can be back. But that's tough. That's tough on a lot of levels. If you know him personally, I know his family because I covered him when I worked at WAPT. If you're a football fan of Mississippi products, you got to know this guy. Like I said, he's one of the greatest high school football players in Mississippi ever.
Of all the times.
Period. You just put him up against all the greats. Cam Akers' name should resonate. So you hope that everything works out. The other reason you hope it works out, because forget the fact that it's a lifelong dream and it's an opportunity to play for a winning team year in and year out. This is money we're talking about. This is this guy's livelihood. I'm talking about covering him as a 14-year-old. Well, he's not 14 anymore. He's going to be 22. He's 22, man. This is his livelihood. So if nothing else, you want to see him come back and do great things, because we're talking about money on the table, man. Think about the impact this guy's had in just 1 year. All right. Todd Gurley played with that franchise for years, did great things. Cam Akers, after 1 year, they're putting him in a commercial with Eric Dickerson. Like, that's the expectation they had for him, to group him in a marketing campaign with the great Eric Dickerson, a legendary running back, to say, this is who we think this young man could be. So everything gets thrown out of whack for Cam, for the Rams, for Los Angeles Rams fans, for the NFL, you name it. This injury has a significant impact across all counts. So you just wish the best, like I said, for that young man. I hope everything works out. Hopefully he comes back. If he's got that mentality still that I know of, he'll be back, man, and he'll be great. But like I said, anytime you hear Achilles injury, you just kind of take pause, man, and you worry about it a little bit. So that's my quick take. If y'all got anything, please chime in on it. That's kind of where I was on that.
I personally just want to ask you, were you just saying like right then that the Rams were gonna win the NFC West, knowing that your brother is a Niners fan? Is that what you were saying?
Well, yes. Just simply because of what Matthew Stafford was stepping into. I have long said Matthew Stafford is a great quarterback, just in the worst situation possible, playing for the Detroit Lions. And he was a franchise quarterback, so he really just couldn't leave because he was making such good money and just hoping that they would right the ship. Well, he gets out of there, moves from Detroit to sunny LA with a smart coach, a young coach, innovative offense, and then you got a running back who could tote the rock and catch it out of the backfield, and you got receivers. Well, for Matthew Stafford, that's a dream. That's a dream.
Okay. And
then to hear one of your top weapons is done for the year. Like I said, you can look at it from different angles and see where the problems lie. You hope, like I said, Cam comes back and he is just as good, if not better. The good news is he is only 22, right? But I look at it in terms of running backs. Your window of effectiveness and success is finite. It's not like playing quarterbacks, not like playing offensive linemen. It's really the shortest window in the NFL. It really is. So every year is important. I think sometimes they say the magic number is 30. It's really probably about 27. So that window is finite. The earning potential, the damage you can do as far as, being an impact player, a legend, all of that. But the all-time greats have dog mentality too. So that's going to be important for Cam as he rehabs, as he gets himself back into the swing of things. He's just 22, and listen, he only had 145 carries last year. So if nothing else, the positive of this is you're going to miss a season, and so you will be fresh. Yeah. So technically you could look at this and say, I can extend my career a little bit because I'm not taking the wear and tear. This is a freak injury. It's a non-contact injury. Shout out to the Rams, by the way, for honoring his contract because they didn't have to, from what I understand, just through reading it, since it happened outside of the facility, non-contact injury. They could have avoided his contract. I think the guy, I can't think of the young man's name now, from Denver, had a similar injury, and they just voided his contract.
Yep.
Just voided his contract. So shout out to the Rams for that. Whether we think the Rams are good guys or management is good guys or not, the fact they're honoring this young man's contract for this year, I like that. I like that. Respect for that.
Respectful.
Respect for that. And I think part of that is they know what they have in Cam Akers, the guy, the leader, the hard worker. They know that he'll put all of his effort back into it to make them right in drafting him, to make them right in standing by the contract, to prove everybody right. And maybe some of the haters wrong to say he can't bounce back and do it. I'll say this: everywhere he's been the man. He was clearly the man in Little League football, clearly the man in high school football, clearly the man even at a bad FSU program while he was there.
I went to school with his stepdad. And, I watched tape. I saw things from him in Florida State. I saw his draft combine tape. He's got feet. He's got speed. He's got power. And
he's total package.
Looking back at last year, you saw when he played against the Patriots on that, I think it was a Thursday night game.
Yeah.
He just did the Patriots so bad. And that's Bill Belichick's squad.
Wasn't he number one coming out of high school?
He was number one coming out of high school.
It depends. I always it depends on the because Najee Harris.
I was just about to say Najee Harris, who just got drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Everybody just
some
absolutely
had him as the number one back coming out.
And remember, Najee Harris played running back his entire career. Cam was a quarterback at Clinton. They just put Cam at quarterback and said, not only do we want you to run for 150, but throw for 300 too. He did,
and he went to a lesser than Florida State.
Right, went and was clearly the best player on the field every year, which is why he got drafted high, because they knew, in spite of that, this guy can get you 100 yards, 150 yards, all purpose, week in and week out. So I don't worry about it. The only reason I bring it up, like the apprehension, is because Achilles injury. That's like the one injury medically that they can't figure out how to get you to bounce back quickly. So even if he comes back and makes a full recovery, it may take him some time, even in the next season, to get back to his old self. So if you are a Rams fan, just understand, be patient with Cam. The good news is for Rams fan, there's another Mississippian from South Panola, from the University of South Panola and the University of Memphis, and Darrell Henderson, that's the backup running back. Well, I won't call him a backup. They were splitting time last year, honestly. And he's a home run hitter too, man. So Darrell Henderson, shout out to that South Panola product. He will now step into the forefront while Cam is down and pretty much get all the carries.
Man, that's crazy.
So you saying I need to draft him then?
No,
that is
no,
for fantasy football purposes,
no,
absolutely.
don't tell him that, Ray.
For fantasy football purposes, Darrell Henderson, him, you know, from what I've seen, just in like the interaction and different stories that I've read, he and Darrell Henderson are tight because they're, you know, both from the SIP, both rookies, you know, come in and have that look. Darrell Henderson, you know, for as down as I'm sure he is for his teammate right now, understands that he has a golden opportunity to make a name for himself, make some money, play alongside Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is going to make any running back look good because he's going to keep 8-9 guys out of the box. Look at Joe. Look at Joe down there taking notes.
Joe,
Darrell Henderson.
Take notes. I don't care about no
Are you going to tell this man who he need to draft?
I don't care nothing about no taking.
I mean, actually, I would want him to draft Darrell Henderson #1 overall. Wales,
exactly.
Do that.
Early.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't do that now, but I mean, but listen,
do that.
Take a look at him. Take a look at him because he has home run ability, man. So
he has that for sure. Home
run ability. So sky's the limit for him as well. You know, like I said, Cam Akers, man, been a fan of that guy for a long time. Glad to see him, you know, show up on the biggest of stages and be the same guy that I saw that was, you know, a kid, literally a kid. And so we just want to wish him well, speedy recovery, man. And when you bounce back, we'll still be rooting for you. And eventually we're going to get you right here on Put It On Something so you can tell it. Talk about your journey, if nothing else, from being injured and being that success story once again. So we're rooting for you, Cam.
Hope so. Come on through. Come on back.
There it is. Well, shout out to the young king Cam Akers. And America want y'all to chime in, tell us what y'all think. Show some love to the young king from Mississippi. You know what I'm talking about? He been putting on, as my brother said, coming out of Clinton, Mississippi. Some publications had him as the #1 running back. Went on to Florida State, did his thing. Now with the LA Rams, you know what I'm talking about? So tell us what y'all think about the Cam Akers injury. Put it on something. My kids wanted me to tell y'all to make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me across all social media platforms, like the videos, and share them. Did I forget anything?
And turn on the post notifications.
Y'all heard them. And also, visit Statement Tees, LLC.com and shop with us. That's Statement Tees. Every t-shirt you wear
makes a statement.